And the thing that surprises me is that you've got this multi-million-dollar shopping centre and they can't even be bothered patching that up. Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's going on here in Spain this week while I walk around this industrial wasteland. And as we can see in front of me here, people just love to dump their rubbish everywhere you go in this part of Spain. And it's a real shame, in my opinion, just how dirty some people can be. Now, as I said, we're going to go for a walk through this industrial area. We're going to head up to the local shopping centre. We'll check out what's going on there. It's a bit early for it to be in full swing, but we'll take a look at that. I'll show you guys the local area here, and we'll have a chat about this week here in Spain, which, as we know, has been dominated by the NATO summit, which was held in Madrid this week. So we'll have a bit of a chat about that. Now, I'm in the newest part of the industrial area here. As we can see, quite modern buildings to my right. I'm not sure what they do exactly, these companies, but they've set up their operations here in Rivas-Vacía, Madrid. I'm walking with my faithful companion Mia, who always comes with me on these trips. Very good girl, this little dog, and I'm going to be honest, I'm enjoying having a dog in my life again, as is the whole family. And we've got the Valencia highway over there, as we can see, traffic moving smoothly. Petrol station over there, which is in the middle of nowhere. Very expensive petrol station. Apparently it's a low cost, but prices don't reflect the low cost nature of that business. And there in front of me we have the local ITV, one of two ITVs here, MOT Service Centre, places that you need to go to get your sticker that is necessary to show that your car is roadworthy here in Spain. Now, it's the end of June 2022. The Spanish economy is trying to get back into full swing mode after the recessions of 2020 and 2021, I think. But unfortunately, there are businesses that haven't been able to survive the pandemic crisis, economic crisis that we have had in this country. And here to my right, there are two such businesses. Both of them are in the hospitality industry. We can see this bar here that didn't even open during the pandemic, and this one here which closed down quite recently, probably 3 or 4 months ago. Obviously couldn't keep going any longer, and we're in a bit of a dead area as well. But I always thought this business was quite successful, but as we can see, they are selling the business or the building. And I am noticing that a few businesses are closing down. I have seen restaurants in particular that were open during the pandemic, open during 2020, 2021, but come 2022, when the subsidies have probably run out or they have to pay back the loans that they got to keep those businesses open, they've decided that it's not worth trading any longer and shutting down the businesses. It's a shame, because I imagine that that's what's happened. They got money to keep afloat during those times, and then when everything started opening up again, restrictions in place, obviously they had to pay wages, things like that, salaries, rents, and just not worth doing business. Or at least that's my theory anyway. Now, this building over here on my right, a booming business here in Spain, elderly residence, was built probably a year ago, or it opened a year ago, I would say, and I imagine that it is full. We'll get a look at the name of the place up there if we can. Geriasa in English. And as I said, a retirement home. And they've got a nice outdoor area here where people can come out and enjoy the outdoors, get some fresh air. But over here on the other side of the road, we have a meat packaging plant, and sometimes the smell can be a bit too much. So you wouldn't want to spend too much time out here, I don't think, especially when the factory is in full swing. Now, over here we have the local shopping centre, the biggest shopping centre in this area, the name H2O. We're going to go and have a look at the entrance to this shopping centre because it's absolutely shocking. Now, here everything looks okay, but when we go down here, we'll see that the entrance is completely destroyed And it's been this way since the severe snowstorm that we had a couple of years ago. And when you come in here by car, it's a very bumpy ride indeed. And the thing that surprises me is that you've got this multi-million-dollar shopping centre and they can't even be bothered patching that up. Absolutely embarrassing. And if you have a look at the rest of the car park down here, you can see that it is exactly the same. So what's stopping them from putting a layer of concrete or bitumen or whatever you want to call it, asphalt down there? I've got no idea, but I think they need to spend the money. So if the people in charge of this shopping centre watch this video, do yourselves a favour and do your clients a favour and fix the entrance and the car park of this shopping centre. Now we'll get an idea of some of the businesses that we've got here. This one here, Pet Shop Miscotta. It's like a big pet warehouse. Foster's Hollywood, they're in front of us, which is a hamburger restaurant. Unique to Spain and Portugal, I think. Quite an interesting story. I think it was started back in the early 70s by a couple of Americans who were living in Spain and wanted authentic American food or US food, couldn't get it, so they started this restaurant chain. It's quite successful here, quite busy all the time, this restaurant. I don't go there often because I don't really like that type of food, but if these same people were in Spain nowadays, they would be surprised by the amount of American style restaurants that we have nowadays. And over here we have Taco Bell, which is also a new addition to this shopping centre. And to be honest, I'm surprised by the amount of fast food restaurants that we have in this particular area and all of the outskirts of Madrid, to be honest. These are shopping centre areas. People from the centre of Madrid come out here to do their shopping. You've got big warehouse type shopping areas. For example, behind me here you can see Decathlon. There's also a media market there. There's a Leroy Merlin, a lot of these big warehouse type places. And of course the shopping centre over here behind me as well. But the amount of fast food that we have in this area is incredible, and it contradicts with the Spanish diet, because the Spanish diet is supposed to be a healthy diet, and these fast food restaurants like the one that I have behind me are the restaurants that are opening up the most in this area. Taco Bell here, Foster's Hollywood over there. There's a place in the shopping centre called Carl's Jr., I think it is. You've got KFC, Popeyes, fast food everywhere in this part of Madrid. It's a shame also, because in a country that does have such a traditional diet, like the Spanish diet, which everybody recognises to be a good diet, I can't understand why these places are so popular. Sign of the times, obviously. There's the local inhabitants of this shopping centre, rabbits. We can see them running around the place. And of course, little Mia goes absolutely crazy when she sees rabbits. So she loves this part of where we live. Now, the big thing that's happening in Madrid, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is the NATO summit, which is taking place this week. All of the dignitaries from the NATO countries in Madrid, and the city has come to a standstill. Just turn the camera around so you can get an idea of the rabbit problem that we have here. Everywhere I'm looking at the moment there are rabbits, and the dog is seriously pulling on this leash, wanting to chase one of them down. Anyway, back to the topic of the NATO summit. Very divisive summit. Lots of people against NATO, lots of people for NATO. In fact, the Spanish government is divided currently because of the Podemos side of the Spanish coalition. They are, of course, anti-war, and the socialist government has welcomed the NATO summit with open arms, because obviously Spain needs the support of those NATO countries. And the foreign minister said today that it is very important for Spain to protect those two borders that it has in the north of Africa, and NATO, he says, are fundamental for that. Now, the reason this shopping centre is called H2O is because of that artificial lake that we have there. Sometimes it has water in it, sometimes it does not. Today it does, and that's the reason for the name H2O. And over there, a couple more of the fast food choices that we have here: La Sureña Cervecería and TGB, the Good Burger. So the NATO summit, as I said, people are divided. A lot of people anti-war, of course. Other people understand that an organisation like NATO is still necessary. I'm not going to give my opinion on the topic, but I'm sort of 50-50. I would like there to be no more wars, but unfortunately I'm a bit of a realist and realise that that is not really possible, considering that we have aggressors in the world. So wherever you sit on this debate, please feel free to leave a comment below, because it is a topical debate and it is something of importance nowadays. And as I said, Spain thinks that NATO is a very important organisation for it. Now here we have paddle courts, a very popular sport here in Spain, paddle. Not sure if it's played outside Spain and other Latin American countries. Maybe it's played in France, Italy, not sure. But I've never seen this in Australia unless it's taken off over the last few years, but very, very popular here, the sport of paddle. Why it's called paddle, I've got absolutely no idea, because it's a type of mini tennis. They play on a reduced size tennis court with a harder racket. But as I said, very, very popular here because it's a sport that you don't have to run around a lot, and quite popular with older generations who obviously can't run around on a tennis court like they could when they were 20. And you can get an idea of the size of the court there. There's a ball down in the far part of the court somebody has left behind, so it looks like a tennis ball size. I've never played this sport, but as I said, very popular here. Not at the moment because people are working, but if you come here in the evening from 7 p.m, 8 p.m. onwards, packed, and at weekends very difficult to get a court. And as we can see over here, they obviously have some type of competition. And they've got a professional looking court with sponsored signs around it. So paddle, the second most popular sport in Spain, I would say, behind football. Football dominates the sporting scene here, and paddle, I reckon at least, the second most popular sport in this country. But let us know your opinion. And over there we can get an idea of the construction activity that's happening. You can see 3 cranes over there. They're building some type of apartment complex. If we swing the camera around here, we can see 5 cranes building a hospital residency for old people complex. Bit of a mix, I think it is. And so plenty of construction work in this area currently. Little doggy enjoying her run on the grass. So I'm going to start to wrap this video walk up from the local area. We can see the area in the background of where I just was. And as I said, it's a fairly modern area, similar to an Australian neighbourhood, an American neighbourhood, I imagine, United States, on the outskirts of some other European cities. But this is what we have here. Plenty of fast food choices, plenty of big retail outlets, and people love to spend money. So as I said, give us your opinion on the NATO organisation, whether Spain needs NATO or NATO needs Spain. Let us know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.